What's up, Sushi Squad? We back again for some more Genshin Impact, and today we're going to be talking about the Elemental Crucible event that is going on right now. I literally just finished a stream of figuring out the ins and outs of this event so that I can end up presenting it to you in this video, which is going to end up being much shorter. So you can wait until the stream has finished processing if you want to see some full-on gameplay of completing the event. I'm almost done already. You should be able to get this entire event done in 1.5 to maybe 2 hours, depending whether you're playing with randoms or with your friends and stuff like that. But essentially, if you press escape, or I'm using a controller so you can pause and go to your notices, there's going to be the events tab over here. Why isn't it here anymore? I don't know why it doesn't talk about this event anymore. Okay, so it's not here, but there are various requirements in order to actually take on this event. You have to complete Act 2's quest, something tiers. I think it's the quest where you actually fight Storm Terror or something like that. So you should be good if you've already fought him, and you have to be adventure rank level 20. So yeah, and then once you have those requirements done, the event itself for some reason only showed up on local time, so it wasn't actually related to the daily reset of the game. I don't know why, but most of you guys and gals should be able to see this event. Some of you might not, and that might just be because it's not actually active in your local time yet, and that's where you'll see it in the notices. In the events tab, you should see the Elemental Crucible in here somewhere, and if you do, it will end up having the time that the event is going to start, and that is the local time. I don't know why, but whatever. So from that point, you should be able to see the quest show up in your quest menu. One giant step for alchemy. So that's going to end up being the quest that's going to show up for the event, and you're literally just going to end up heading over to Mondstadt, and you're going to end up talking to the alchemy merchant or alchemy guy. I don't know if he's called an alchemy merchant, but that's what I call him anyways. So you just go to this fast travel point right here, and literally it's this guy right here. Now, the thing that you got to keep in mind is that crafting and talking to this guy are going to be two different things. You have to talk to him, and then he's going to blah, 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 ramble. The game's going to kind of give you a little bit of a tutorial on the quest itself, and then basically he's going to show up back over here. So you can go to the Starfall Valley fast travel point. You're just going to end up hopping down here. And then there's going to end up being the Elemental Crucible. So this is going to be kind of a co-op themed event where it's going to be sort of a wave defense slash collect resources and bring them to this, right? So when you initiate this, this is going to actually have us starting the event with random people in matchmaking. And it's important to note that the loot that you see right here costs 40 resin. So the 200 adventure rank XP and blah, blah, blah. All of that is going to cost 40 resin. Near as I've heard from people, that is basically going to end up being double the rewards that you get for the ley line. So the ley line costs 20 resin, this costs 40 resin, so you're essentially just doing it in twice the time, I guess. I mean, the event itself, the Crucible, is technically more efficient. So if you are spending resin on this, you know, on ley lines and stuff, then do the Crucible instead. Otherwise, you can just save your resin, honestly speaking, because there is going to end up being quest rewards in general. So you just open up your compass and you'll see that the Crucible event is right here. It's going to give you a best time based on the, you know, based on the time that you ended up completing it with the random people that you're in and stuff like that. But if you go into here and then you end up opening the alchemy handbook, this is going to be the actual event rewards. So you can see I've already completed the majority of them. They're very, very easy to get, honestly speaking. So you just got to complete a transmutation, which is just completing it once, 5 times, 10 times. I gotta complete it 20 times to get the last of my primogems right here, and then defeat 100 assailants, which is just random enemies while you're doing it. Reach an alchemy efficiency of 10,000. That is going to be based off of, I'll show you guys in a moment how you actually complete the event, but in the event, you're gathering these cubes basically that you will end up bringing to the Crucible, and that's going to end up increasing this number. It is a permanent increase, so it's not like you have to get 160k in one round. You can just get it continuously. And the worst out of all of these, I would say, is trying to complete the event in 3 minutes, but that entirely depends on whether you're playing with randoms, whether you're playing with people that understand how to complete the event or anything like that. I ended up just doing it in co-op. But before we move on to the actual event itself, I do have some important things to note, because I ran into a really bad bug, which is so stupid and doesn't make any sense at all. But basically, I can interact with this thing, and then I could start a public match, right? But I couldn't interact with this when people would join my world for co-op. However, the way that we resolved it was, I'm on PC, but I'm playing on controller, and people were saying that it was working for them on mouse and keyboard. So I literally had to go into my settings, swap to mouse and keyboard controls, and then I could see the option to start the event while people were in my world in co-op. And then when I ended up swapping back to controller, it was here, and it was just working. Like, everything's working fine now for me. So I just wanted to point that out. If you're on PC, it is a very easy fix. If you're on PS4, however, unfortunately, some of you guys seem to have not run into this bug. Some of you have. A couple solutions that people have mentioned to me, but I can't confirm 100% that it's going to work, is you'll have to redetect your PS4 controller on the game itself. It could be as simple as just turning your PS4 controller off and on. Another more extreme example is you would actually go into your devices on your PS4, completely disconnect your PS4 controller, and then resync it with your PS4. That might solve the issue for you. Again, you should be able to play public rounds, no problem. This whole bug and issue is as soon as you have people joining your world so that you can play co-op with them. And oddly enough, the event itself mentions a lot about world level. Near as I can tell, you can go ahead and have any of your friends join you. The way that this game works for co-op is anyone who's stronger than you can end up joining you so long as you're lower than them, which is fine for me because I'm pretty far behind everybody. But basically, if you're world 3 and I'm world 2, like world level, basically, it's going to scale the world level down to the host level. So anyways, let's hop into a public event so that I can show you guys this. I do want to mention that because I already have this complete, that's why I could collect the treasure, but I don't want to spend the resin on it just because it's like, I'd rather save those rewards for boss fights and stuff like that. So anyways, we can initiate. It already found a match, so let's just load right into it and get it done. So now that we're actually in here, other people will potentially end up randomly joining mid-fight, hopefully, because otherwise we could end up running into trouble. But basically, the wave defense has started. Enemies will end up spawning in set locations, but the enemy type itself can end up being pretty random. Sometimes you'll end up getting enemies that have electric elements. Sometimes they'll have fire, whatever. So this cube that's around me, that was an air cube, or anemo. And I basically just walk in the proximity of the crucible, and then it deposits it, right? But as I'm walking around with the cube, you're kind of vulnerable, because if you take too much damage, or if you get hit with too much elemental damage from enemies, whatever, you're going to end up losing that cube. So it kind of pays to have somebody running around and depositing all of them as quick as possible. But there is also some sort of a multiplier that is applying right now. So if I keep depositing the air cubes over and over, we're going to end up getting a benefit to depositing the air cubes specifically. And I know air cube doesn't really make much sense, but it literally is what these are. So this, for example, this is electric, right? And then right next to me, that's air. So if I grab the air, it's going to drop the electric for that prime element. And you can stack, but it has to all be the same element. So if I grab an electric cube, I'm looking for other electric cubes. So for example, this is a water. And if I go over here, I can end up grabbing this one as well and stacking it just because they are both water. Now, the Elemental Crucible waves that you can kind of see at the top middle of the screen, the little diamond icon or whatever, that is basically going to be a resetter. That's all I can really call them. I have no idea what it's actually called. But basically, as soon as we end up hitting that next diamond icon a little bit further, it's basically going to reset the board. So if there's a whole bunch of cubes that are out around on the map, they are all going to end up resetting. And you're just going to have to kill some more enemies and stuff like that. I can't... Oh, there. I just lost my element because that enemy hit me, unfortunately. Prime example. There you go. You guys get to actually see it. But near as I can tell, I'm not 100% certain on this. you can also see, by the way, I'm sorry that I'm going all over the place, but you can see that we actually have a benefit towards getting cryo, so the, you know, the snow element, and you can see that while I'm still carrying these cubes, they didn't end up actually resetting. So an efficient thing that you can end up doing is just before you end up moving into the next round of enemies, if everybody in your party is holding a bunch of the cubes, and then one person deposits them, it goes to the next round, everybody will still keep the cubes that are on their person, so they can deposit those as well. However, I do want you guys to keep in mind that it is a limited amount of time that you'll be able to hold the cubes as well. They do seem to just dissipate over time. So it kind of just benefits you to turn them in as quickly as possible. And anytime you end up seeing, like you saw in that last round, there was, you know, a benefit to having cryo. Anytime you end up seeing a specific benefit for a specific element, turn those in, because that's going to end up being super duper efficient, just for getting it done. And then there you go. That's already it. We completed it, and we didn't end up getting the 3-minute timer. I already did it fine in another world, but that's the only reason why I would give you guys those tips of, you know, everybody stocking up all of their elements and getting ready when you go into the next round, just because maybe it'll end up helping you get that 3-minute mark a little bit better. And so from there, like I said, defeating enemies, gathering the cubes or crystals or whatever, just in general, that's going to end up all going towards the event rewards themselves. So again, that's going to be going into the Elemental Crucible tab and then the Alchemy Handbook. And then you can see that we've slowly worked towards getting to 20 rounds and getting towards 100 enemies. So I'm just going to finish these up myself off camera, but hopefully that ends up helping you guys out. I'm sorry that if this was a little bit sporadic, I probably could have explained things a little bit more effectively, but honestly speaking, I mean, this is my first like event in Genshin, so I'll get more efficient at these types of tutorials when well, once I've got a lot more experience with the game. But either way, thanks for watching. Smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel, and have a great day. Sign on and stay epic, gamers.